In the chapter of Genesis 16, the circumstances of the conflict between Hagar and Sarai, the birth of Hagar's son, and the reason she fled will be presented. Abram and Sarai have been married for a long time, and no child has brought joy to their home. But God was clear in his promise to give him an heir. His wife Sarai could not have children, and not having them was a misfortune for that time. Thus, Abram and Sarai helped to fulfill the promise. But the problem is that they did it without consulting God. They knew God's teachings and knew they should be content, because having a second wife or concubine was a sin. However, trying to fulfill what God had promised, Sarai, ignoring God's will, gives her servant Hagar, an Egyptian, to bear a child for them. Sarai takes this action to build herself up, following the customs of other peoples and of her time. She did not follow the will of God, but her own will. Then the servant, Hagar, was introduced to build up the family, but the consequences of this act brought discord and suffering to everyone. Abraham had relations with Hagar, who became pregnant and started to despise Sarai. That's why Sarai became bitter against her servant. Everyone in this triangle suffered. Sarai began to accuse Abram as the culprit of everything, but he merely accepted the suggestion. Then everything changed. Peace, harmony, and happiness no longer existed in this home, which was on the verge of falling apart. Sarai mistreated and cursed her servant in such a way that she felt very distressed and, in despair, fled to Egypt, her homeland. When she approached the well of Sur, Hagar encountered the angel of the Lord, and he said to her, "Return to your mistress, for God will multiply your descendants so much that you will not be able to count them." This is the first record of an appearance of an angel of God on earth, and some believe it is God himself presenting within the limits of time and space. Then, Hagar should return, despite the difficult situation. But she should believe, awaiting the fulfillment of the divine plan, which was the birth of her son. Hagar was filled with joy upon recognizing God in that experience, seeing that he is full of grace and goodness. The well of Shur, where Hagar encountered the angel of God, was named Bir Lahai Roi, which means God of vision, or living one who sees me, and is located in Kadesh, 80 kilometers from Beersheba. Hagar gave birth to a boy, the son of Abraham, who was named Ishmael, which means the God who listens, and who would become the leader of the most important tribe. Abram was 86 years old when he became the father of Ishmael. The chapter shows that we must follow the will of God, not our own will, which is difficult to understand and wait for God's action. But only he knows what is really good for us. So let us do the will of God, for everything he does is good, perfect, and pleasing. We see that God promised Abraham that he would make a great nation through him. But due to the passage of time and their advanced age, the couple concluded that it would be impossible to have a child. Sarai then convinced Abram that they would only become parents through her servant Hagar. At that time, this was a legal custom, making the child legitimate to the couple. But see, this was not God's plan for them. This act brought them many troubles as a consequence. Sarai complained to Abram about Hagar's inappropriate behavior and received his consent to act as she saw fit with the servant, who in turn fled due to the mistress's mistreatment. Returning later, because of an angel of God, who told her that the child's name would be Ishmael. Despite not being pleased with this act of Abraham, God in his justice blessed the servant's son. But it would not be through this child that God would fulfill his promise. In all of this, there is a lesson that it is not through human effort, that is, only with our hands and intelligence that we can achieve our desires. Temporarily, sometimes we think so, but then everything falls apart because it was not God's will for us. This, because God does not need our haste to honor his promises. When we try to help God without consulting him, we only intensify the misunderstanding. Waiting. The suffering of waiting does not fountain spiritual paths. Genuine faith knows how to wait for God's time. God sees and hears our afflictions and anguishes. Just as he observed Hagar's despair in the desert, he finds us in the deserts of our lives. The presumption, both of Hagar and Sarai, ruins relationships and coexistence. We need to apply humility and serenity. God watches over even those who are beyond our control and understanding. God hears our supplication even when we sin or not, at any time and hour. He always listens, for He is the sovereign of all. Regardless of our choices or wrong attitudes we make because we don't know how to wait, God has compassion and comes to correct and shape us, presenting us with what is truly ideal for us. God hears, God sees, and God knows everything. God is the only omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. Therefore, God is good all the time. Did you like the content? Leave your like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more inspirational messages.